What are the top 5 classic World War II movies that you should see? Find out right after this. Hey everybody, I am Taylor from BeardVersusGeek.com, where I show you it is okay to be a man and a geek at the same time. One of the most manly things to watch is a good war movie. So manly, in fact, that our wives and girlfriends tend to leave the room and go watch something else, or just happen to go and wash their hair. Over the course of film history, there has been hundreds of war movies out there. But which are the best ones specifically about World War II? Well, here are 5 classic World War II movies that you have to watch. Now, by classic, I mean that it was made between 1945 and 1975. So let's get going with number 5, Kelly's Heroes. Now, Kelly's Heroes came out in 1970 and has a star-studded cast, including Clint Eastwood, Don Rickles, Carol O'Connor, and my personal favorite, Donald Sutherland. Now, this movie is actually based on a true story where Americans and Germans team up in 1945 to knock over a bank and steal thousands of bars of gold. That's right, it really happened. This depicts Clint Eastwood, who plays Private Kelly, who is actually a disgraced lieutenant who comes across a German military officer and finds out that this officer knows about 14,000 bars of gold sitting 30 miles behind the German lines. So Private Kelly convinces his platoon, a couple of tanks, and a supply sergeant to go 30 miles behind enemy lines to rob a bank and steal all of this gold from German hands. This is a great movie with good action, nice dialogue, and a very interesting story to boot. Now, number 4, The Great Escape. Now, The Great Escape is also based on a true story, except this movie gets it a little bit more accurate. This depicts American, British, and Canadian forces that are held in a POW camp by the Nazis, and they need to escape and get back to their own lines. By doing this, they construct a tunnel going out of the camp, took the time to forge documents, and even teach people a little bit of German in order to give them a chance of escaping out of occupied Europe. Again, this actually happened, and the details that they put into this film makes it rather historically accurate. It's a very compelling story, in so much as it is still remembered as one of Steve McQueen's greatest films ever. Number 3, The Sands of Iwo Jima. Now, this came out in 1949 and starred John Wayne, of all people, who is known for making a lot of Western and war films. Well, this is one of his best. Now, this depicts a fictitious Sergeant Stryker who went through a lot of bad stuff, but is ending up going to Iwo Jima, and it depicts the battle therein. Now, what makes this film particularly good is not only the acting, the action, but also they use real footage of the Battle of Iwo Jima, as well as real newsreels at the time. Plus, they used actual Marines. Most of the cast was actual Marines who either served in the Battle of Iwo Jima or was currently serving as a Marine. In fact, the Marines supplied 2,000 Marines in order to be extras in this movie. In fact, there were so many Marines in this movie that it could actually be classified as another invasion of Iwo Jima. During the scene where they're hoisting that iconic flag to the top of the mountain on the island of Iwo Jima, 3 of those guys hoisting the flag were the same 3 guys that did it the first go-around. And the flag was the exact same flag. This is a movie that made sure that it was accurate. The only thing that was really fictitious was the main character. Everything else, spot on. Number 2, Patton. Now, Patton is probably the most iconic military film to date, including the opening scene where he's standing in front of that huge freaking flag and giving a speech. Well, that speech actually happened. In fact, this movie, Patton, is considered a biography because it is so accurate about George Patton's life during World War II. His frustrations, they actually show his temperament, and a lot of things that actually happened. Although this movie is kind of long, it is very good. It starts off with Patton going into North Africa, then Italy, and then getting redeployed in France, and ended up saving the Battle of the Bulge. Patton is a great film, great action, amazing acting by George C. Scott, who plays General Patton. Overall, this movie is excellent for historical accuracy, drama, action, and overall will be the iconic World War II film for another 5 decades. Now, number 1, To Hell and Back, the story of Audie Murphy. Now, if you are not familiar with Audie Murphy, this guy is a freaking hero and one of the most badasses of American history. Audie Murphy signed up for the Army when he was 18 and went into World War II in the European theater. This guy was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor for standing on top of a burning Sherman tank, manning a .50 caliber machine gun, shooting at several Tiger tanks, and the accompaniment of infantry that goes along with that, so that the rest of his platoon can retreat to safety. It was only after he jumped off of the burning tank that it actually exploded behind him. This movie is actually based off of the autobiography of Audie Murphy, and in fact, Audie Murphy also helped write the screenplay, and he starred himself in the movie. So this movie is scary accurate, as in it is as accurate and as graphic as they would let them make it in 1955. And the story is extremely compelling. If there was one classic World War II film that you should watch, To Hell and Back is it. So let me know what movies I missed in the comments down below. Let me know what your absolute favorite classic World War II movie is. Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. Great videos like this are coming out every single week, where I show you it's okay to be a man and a geek at the same time. In fact, you can go to beardvsgeek.com for some weekly articles and a weekly podcast. You can also click on one of these 2 videos right here for some amazing geekdom and more manliness. Because after all, if the women don't find you manly, they should at least find you geeky. And until next time, don't go shaving on me.